is that most physicians, even specialists, are trained and educated to work with the general population. And their knowledge and experience sometimes does not necessarily tie into what is needed and what is required for optimizing athletic performance. I am a huge believer and a huge fan in terms of modern medicine. But I think that it is also crucial to understand, as I discussed on the Let's Talk Man podcast, which I will link just below this video, is that most physicians, even specialists, are trained and educated to work with the general population. And their knowledge and experience sometimes does not necessarily tie into what is needed and what is required for optimizing athletic performance. We hear it all the time, everything's in range, all is good, no need to worry, proceed as normal. But then, as an athlete, and in my scenario, particularly when I'm dealing with female athletes, older female athletes, they come back to me and say, well, my doctor said that everything is fine, but I'm still fatigued. I can't train hard. I'm not recovering. And I'm on really low calories and somehow I'm not losing body fat. What is going on? It's really important here that we understand the difference between not being sick and what is optimal. And if you're a physique athlete, hell, if you're any athlete, okay is not enough. Most doctors are viewing your body like a mechanic that's working on regular sedans. But then you take that mechanic, a high performance sports car, and all they're checking is, all right, well, the engine light is not on, you have gas in the tank, the car is driving, you're good to go, proceed as normal. But for you, whether you're a competitive athlete or not, maybe you just have very lofty, ambitious goals in terms of your physique development, you're not a regular sedan. You are a sports car and you need to be functioning like one. You don't just need enough fuel to keep the engine running. You need premium fuel, clean injectors, and a finely tuned system. Let's break this down with a very tangible example that I've seen recently, multiple times in the last week. With a couple of females and a couple of males, when we see a lack of responsiveness to a caloric deficit, and we have verified all the other potential outliers. Adherence is in a good place, their ability to track is accurate and on point, their expenditure is where it needs to be, both from a non-exercise activity perspective as well as from an exercise activity perspective. Their sleep is on point, their stress management is on point. We obviously turn to physiological problems. And while I ask them, get your full thyroid cascade tested, they'll go to their physician and only TSH is checked with the feedback, hey, your TSH is fine, which means that your thyroid function is fine. That is not true. We need to check under the hood to assess this. Free T4, reverse T3, and free T3, that is what's going to define how effective and efficiently your metabolism is running. I've also seen indications where somebody is presented with low iron and low ferritin, but they've been told, well, you're not anemic, so you're good to go. That's like saying, well, you have just enough gas in the tank to get to your destination, so you're fine, you don't need to fill up. Well, if you want to get to your destination a little bit faster, or you take a wrong turn, and therefore the trip becomes a little bit longer, guess what? You're gonna run out of gas and you're not gonna get to your destination. So yes, in a lot of instances, the dashboard might be not showing you any warning lights. But that doesn't mean that where you're sitting physiologically is optimal. In reality, guys, if you are a physique athlete or anyone that's taking your physique seriously, you have to understand where your physicians are coming from. And this is through no fault of their own. Like I said, they are trained and educated to deal with general population guidelines. And general population guidelines state that as you get older, you are going to start falling towards the lower end of the range across a variety of different hormones. So they are correct in saying you're fine, you're normal. But the question is not being asked, how do I make it optimal. Some final take-home points here. Always request your full panels. When you're looking for thyroid, check TSH, T4, T3, and reverse T3. If your physician is not willing to do that, find a lab that is. Stop accepting the word normal as good enough, okay? If you're within the normal income range within your company, but the normal income range has a difference of 70% from the lowest end to the top end, aren't you going to want to be at the top end? If something feels off, trust your experience and trust your biofeedback. If you are fatigued all the time, if you don't have motivation to train, if you are in a significant deficit and struggling to lose body fat despite high level adherence, there is something wrong, despite what you may hear. Guys, if this hit home for you, please drop a comment below and let me know any experiences you've had that's similar to this, or any questions that pertains to this topic that you think I might be able to answer. Like the video, that gets it to more people. Hopefully, the more people see it, the more people I'm going to be able to help. And if you've really liked it, subscribe to the channel. Thank you, my friends.